no, what I'm saying is, let's just say that Meech didn't know about, Tammy setting up, was gonna set up Cuffy and the Mexican Suarez or whatever, right?
Right.
But after he's found out, because everybody knows she's an informant now, they're still doing the show with her. They're still dealing with her. She was still on the red carpet for BMF.
Set up by one of his best friends, which is Demetrius Flannery, also known as Big Meech. My dad and Meech have been friends for 30 years plus. I've known Meech my whole life. I look at him like an uncle.
So the internet has been buzzing with speculations after 50 Cent called Black Mafia family founder Big Meech a rat for linking up with Rick Ross and guys. It looks like the drama is only getting started because Big Meech fired back and gave 50 a serious warning to back off. Or else 50 made a series of posts attacking Big Meech after it was announced that Big Meech is teaming up with Rick Ross for a welcome home concert in Florida.
Ricky Rose, the time has come. Meech on February 13th. Get your tickets right now. It's going down.
As y'all know, 50 Cent is one of Rick Ross's biggest ops. And 50 is the kind of guy that expects complete loyalty from anyone he's doing business with. So he took the Big Meech and Rick Ross collaboration very personally. However, Meech is now firing back, saying the real snitch here is 50 Cent. Because the only reason why 50 is crying about all this is because he's mad that Meech is doing business with his op guys. This whole thing is one hot stinking mess, so let's get into it. The one thing we should all know about 50 Cent by now is that when he takes someone as an enemy, he really takes them as their enemy, like the man is a professional hater. And it looks like Big Meech is the latest to get caught up in. The facts are stranger than fiction. Boom 50 was making reference to BMF, the crime drama TV series, which follows the Black Mafia family. The series premiered on September 26, 2021 on Starz, and it has been renewed for 3 more seasons since then. Although season 4 has not started yet, now there are several key players in this drama. One of them is Demetrius Fenner, aka Big Meech. The BMF series is based on the true life story of Big Meech, and he's the main character. His role is played by his son Demetrius Fenner Jr. in the show Big Meech, and his brother Terry Southwest T. Fenner, played by Haitian-American actor Da Vinci, rose from the decaying streets of It was supposedly a promotion agency and record label for hip-hop music, but it was really a front for their money laundry operations. Then, of course, we have 50 Cent. In July 2019, it was announced that 50 had begun developing a TV series revolving around the Black Mafia family, which he would executive produce for Starz' company Gunnet Films, and Televisions Inc. was one of the production companies for the project. Another key player in this drama is Tammy Cohen. Tammy is the supposed best friend and business partner of Big Meech. She herself called Big Meech her bestie in a 2014 interview with Straight From the Tammy is the co-producer of BMF, and she was also the co-producer of a similar 2012 show titled BMF, The Rise and Fall of a Hip-Hop Drug Empire. Since 2008, Tammy and Big Mech have worked closely together, with Tammy serving as Mech's business partner. So 50 Cent's posts sparked a lot of controversy, because 50 also hinted that there were some dark secrets to be spilled about Tammy Cowan and Big Meech in some upcoming tell-all documentary. But then 50 Cent took things further when he posted a picture of a rat that said, "I think I'm Big Meech 50, then added the caption, "The biggest mistake he ever made was not sustaining his relationship with Tammy Cowan." Her tell-all docu reveals the truth. Okay, what truth is 50 Cent talking about? What does Tammy Cowan have to reveal? And what secrets are Big Meech hiding? Sit tight, because we're about to dive into the messy details. 50 Cent calling Big Meech a rat seemed to be an unprovoked attack, but it didn't actually come from nowhere. It all started after Big Meech announced his collaboration with Rick Ross for a welcome home concert in Florida later this month, making those posts where he called Big Meech a rat. The reason why he did that was because, as why all know, Rick Ross used to be a correctional officer, and it's believed he still has close ties with law enforcement and could even be an informant. 50 and Ross have had beef for almost 2 decades now. And in the middle of all that, 50 has never passed up a chance to remind Ross that he's a correctional officer cosplaying as a lord. In a 2015 interview with Tim Westwood, 50 threw him back to his officer Ricky Days, calling him a desperate FR.
What about you and Rick Ross?
That
It's desperation at the points that you hear things from him at this point. You know, because if you're looking for someone, it ain't that hard to find me. You know, I'm around. And I'm not used to having an altercation with law enforcement. I'm just not used to saying I'm going to do something to a correctional officer or to a police officer or anyone who's been under oath that's going to say with no problem everything that you've said and everything that's happened immediately after. Like, you know this person is sworn in to tell, you know, like, it's not like, oh, you want to be surprised after he tells everything? Because of what? Because of the line that he said in the song? Yeah.
Do you think it's that crazy?
Huh?
Do you think it's that crazy?
I don't think he's crazy. I don't even
No,
care.
but the situation is that crazy like that.
No, it's a correctional officer. It's a correctional officer that is rapping like a dealer. It shows you that that's the point in our culture that you can identify with you actually being who you say you are doesn't matter. That's the point where if it sounds good, they're fine with it for a short period of time. You can tell.
Fast forward to 2019 and 50 appeared on Los Angeles radio station Real 923 for an interview with Bootleg Kev and DJ Head. When the topic of Rick Ross came up, 50 did not hold back. He doubled down on his stance that Ross is not relevant to the music industry, saying there's nothing he respects about his career.
Jim Jones, Wale.
Prison reform and all of the wrongfully convicted and wrongfully treated people in the prison.
See, 50 Cent had a lot of trouble with the law back in the day before he became the rapper and millionaire mogul we know today. He was just a kid trying to survive the streets in the South Jamaica neighborhood of Queens, New York City. His mother was after she passed away when he was 8. He got on the streets and started selling that white powder when he wasn't in school or at the boxing gym where he spent most of his time. So yeah, you can understand why 50 wants to have nothing to do with a guy who used to put people like him behind bars and who is probably still an informant. However, Rick Ross clapped back at 50 Cent on his IG stories, calling 50 a hurt hoe. He went on a rant, telling 50 to get out of his feelings and stop taking business.
Nigga took a picture with Rick Ross. You like a hoe. Put your back against the wall and just slide down. You already know, car show going down June 7th. Get online right now, get your tickets right now. But for the hustlers, I want y'all to understand you gotta stop making business personal. Get your money. You don't know these don't know you. And for anybody going against Ricky Rose, let me have this. I've been putting my foot up this for the last 15 years. Everything you touch crumble. Why you think Rose on top? We don't take this personal. We get into the motherfucking money. Now, Big Meech, February 13th. That concert gonna be off the motherfucking book. Putting his foot up you and leaving it in your motherfucking intestine. You know what's going down. Car show bigger than ever. Ricky Rose, the biggest.
But here's the kicker. 50 Cent wasn't calling Rick Ross a rat just because he linked up with Rick Ross long before any of this started. There were already rumors that Big Meech became a federal informant to shorten his sentence. See, the BMF reigned untouched for years, despite being on law enforcement radar since the early 1990s. It wasn't until 2003, when the DEA and FBI joined forces to begin Operation Motor City Mafia, that law enforcement started making progress in taking down the Black Mafia family. It started with a bunch of arrests of low and mid-level members of the organization, like Raphael Smurf, Allison Jabari Hayes, Dar Carlo Hoskins, and brothers Omari McCree and Jeffrey Lee. The organization from within and gave the feds a very clear picture of how they operated. By 2005, Operation Motor City Mafia had reached its peak, and arrests were flying all over the place. The feds seized millions worth of assets, firearms, and cash from the BMF safe houses. Many of the mid-level and high-level members of the organization were arrested too, including Big Meech and his brother Terry. Demetrius Feener and his brother Terry ran one of the country's largest operations during the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. The pair had hundreds of employees, generated hundreds of millions of dollars, and even had a successful record label and magazine. But in 2006,
Demetrius Flannery and his brother Terry ran one of the country's largest operations during the late 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. The pair had hundreds of employees, generated hundreds of millions of dollars, and even had a successful record label and magazine. But in 2006, the brothers were indicted in a federal RICO case originating out of Georgia.
BMF was the first group that was accused of being both a criminal organization and a record label.
Attorney Josh Schiffers says Demetrius, also known as Big Meech, is highly regarded because he never took a deal or snitched on his co-conspirators.
And he went down. And when he went down, he and his brother were sentenced to 30 years in.
the brothers were charged with conspiracy to distribute 5 kilos or more of white possession, with intent to distribute more than 500 g, conspiracy to launder monetary instruments, and 2 counts of possession with intent to distribute more than 5 kilos. Big Meech maintained his innocence throughout the trial in 2008, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. He was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years in jail. However, in October of 2024, it was announced that Big Meech was getting released from jail to a residential reentry program in Miami. His official release date was set for August 17, 2025. As great news as it was for Big Meech, his family, and his fans, people were still informant and who helped him get that deal, none other than his bestie Tammy Cohen. Fun fact, for those who don't know, Tammy Cohen owns the rights to Big Meech's life story. He sold the rights to her. Another fun fact, Tammy Quinn is known for being a government informant. In 2022, Tona Welch, also known as the First Lady of the Black Mafia family, did an interview with Vlad TV where she spilled the tea about how she first found out that Big Meech sold his life rights to government informant Tammy Cohen. Tanisa revealed that Tammy launched a smear campaign against her and tried to send her back to jail, according to her. She was disgusted and disappointed when she saw people who were supposed to be her friends being all
I get down to my probation officer, my son in the car, said, if I don't come out in a couple of hours, call the lawyer. I get in there, Tammy Cohen is a government informant. So she says, so my probation officer is sitting there and some other guy. I can't remember his name, but I just knew he was part of the DEA. And I come in, I go in, I'm like, you know, this is everybody's nightmare. I already did my time. Only thing I wanted to come home and do is take care of myself, take care of my family, make amends for my mother, redeem myself through, the world, or anybody that I felt like I affected. So they told me, and he says, you know what this is about? And I said, no. He said, well, you threatened a government informant, and that's a federal offense, and it's a violation of your probation. And I said, well, who did I threaten? I don't know what you're talking about. So he go over the story, and I'm sitting there, and I'm telling you, I've heard of people killing themselves not to go back to prison. I went to prison, man. I went to prison. When I say I came home, and all these people were going at my head. All these people I helped. All these people, I'm a mother. I was somebody's daughter. I lost my father, lost my mother. I was somebody's daughter. And here you are. You didn't put in no work. No work. All you did is start writing a man, and this man befriended you, gave you his life rights. And just because you've been a government informant since 2008, you have the right to tell them that I threatened you. They told me that they were gonna arrest me. They were gonna charge me.
But hold on, because this story gets wilder now. Even if Tammy was going to get Big Me released, he still had to line up someone else for the feds as part of his deal. Enter St. Louis Penn. Diane Gatling, aka Cuffy, and Big Meech were friends and longtime business partners who had done business for over 20 years, since the early 1990s, according to Cuffy. He was the first person to put $1 million cash in Big Meech's pocket. Big Meech was also close to Cuffy's family, and Cuffy's daughter, Tamara, basically called him uncle. Tamara later spilled the tea about how they found out that Big Meech lined up her father, Cuffy, through the help of government informant Tammy Cohen.
Gatling. I'm making this recording in regards to my dad. He's Dion Gatling. Most people know him as Cuffy. But I wanted to make this recording so I can shed light on some facts. My dad was set up by one of his best friends, which is Demetrius Flannery, also known as Big Meech. My dad and Meech have been friends for 30 years plus. I've known Meech my whole life. I look at him like an uncle. Like, this situation has been completely devastating on so many different levels, and there's still so many questions that aren't answered. At this point, I can only shed light on what I know for sure to be facts, and hopefully one day I will have the complete truth. But in 2011, around that time, Meech reached out to my dad in regards to creating a BMF movie. So Meech hooked my dad up with a woman named Tammy Cohens. At the time, Tammy was Meech's power of attorney. Also, she owned the life rights. So my dad was working with Meech, Tammy, T, basically trying to work on a movie. Finally arrested my dad and we received the discovery. He knew exactly who CS1 was, and he told me and my mom that it was Tammy Cohens. At that time, we really did not want to believe. We wanted to give Meech the benefit of the doubt. It was really, really hard to believe that Meech would set my dad up. It was almost unbelievable. So we were able to like reach out, get a message to Meech, and basically let him know that Tammy was an informant. We later received a message from him saying that it had to be a misunderstanding. Just call her, she'll straighten this out, so on, so on. And at this time, my dad was like, I'm not dumb, I'm not about to call and inform